Does your sketchbook just spend endless amounts of time just sitting there on your desk, shut, waiting for you to draw? Do you ever sit down to actually draw and open up your sketchbook to realize that you have no idea what to draw? You have no motivation, and literally all you want to do is not be drawing. Literally anything but not be drawing. So you sit there questioning your life, questioning literally everything you could ever question. Why am I here? What is the point? Why am I an artist? And as you sit there and ponder those things, the blank page becomes scarier and scarier. Until, finally, you just close your sketchbook and it becomes a permanent resident of all the other crap on your desk. And you leave feeling worse than you did when you started. Today I'm going to help you face your fear of the blank page and help you get over the thing we all call art block. Dun, dun, dun! Quite frankly, I did not really have any sort of idea what I was going to do with this footage once I started filming it. I just felt like I needed to do something because I'd literally been a potato on my bed for all day. And so I thought I would try drawing. Now, I haven't drawn anything in like at least a week, if not longer. And there's not really a particular reason to why I haven't been drawing. I guess it hasn't been the project that I've been working on. I've been doing a lot of other stuff, and I do have a life. I have a job. I do school. I have somewhat of a life, even though quite a bit of it just got canceled because of, So anyway, I thought I would just sit down and take a moment to draw and try not to think about things. And so one of my first tips for getting rid of art block, as we'll say with air quotes, is to just look up something on Pinterest or Google Images, although I would say Pinterest is a much better resource for finding things to draw, and just use a reference and draw. Like, there's something about using references. It's like driving somewhere with a GPS versus driving somewhere on some vague directions that you sort of know in your head but aren't for sure if you're actually going to get there. So drawing with a reference is kind of like you already have your GPS ready and laid out for you to give the instructions. All you have to do is follow it. So you can look at your reference, and I'm drawing a horse here because horses are something that I'm comfortable with. And so I just pulled up a reference on Pinterest, and I will have a link down below to all the references that I used during this video. And I just started drawing, and surprisingly this actually turned out, it's not amazing, but it turned out a lot better than I would have ever expected it to turn out. And there's something about using reference, and you think it would force you to not use as much imagination, I guess, or creativity, but there's something about using references that's just so freeing. And you sit down with your reference and you know what to do. You don't have to think of ideas or question your life or spend all that time staring at the blank page. You have something in front of you to draw, and it's like in kindergarten when you're given a pair of scissors and something to cut out, and you can just go to town and focus on the task at hand. That's, I'd say, exactly what using a reference to draw is like. Now, part of the problem with looking on Pinterest or finding the references to draw something is you can fall down the Pinterest rabbit hole, which I would say is another symptom of so-called art block. I don't know exactly if art block is a real thing or not. I know there are people who are like, no, art block's not a real thing, and there are people who are like, oh, I have art block, blah, blah, blah. But I think it's just more like when you don't have motivation to draw, and there's either you don't have motivation or you don't have any inspiration. Now, drawing with reference can definitely help that, because it gives you something to draw, so there's your inspiration, and then it also is kind of motivation in a way, because now you found something that's inspiring you at least a little bit, and now you have something that you can draw. Now, another tip that I have for art block is don't start off with something that, so you scrolled through Pinterest and you found something that you really, really like and you want to try drawing. Now, I wouldn't start off with trying to draw the Mona Lisa. I would start off drawing with something that you're comfortable with. And I guess you could say this is going to be your warm-up. Now, I don't always like it when artists use the term warm-up because I understand that your art is like a muscle and you need to exercise it and whatever, and all athletes warm up or whatever, but warming up just always seems so weird to me. But I guess in the way of art block, it's just using references kind of a way of warming up. It's instead of warming up, it's more like just practicing so you don't feel that like, ugh, all of my drawings are going to turn out horrible. And another thing is when you're drawing in your sketchbook, and which I'm presuming that you're doing because you have so-called art block or whatever, it doesn't have to be perfect. And I know we all see these beautifully drawn out and planned out spreads on Pinterest or wherever, and you just think that's how all artist sketchbooks look, but it's not. I'm sure they have crappy pages just like we do. So another part of art block I would say is comparing yourself to other artists. You see all this beautiful art on social media and all you can think is, why can't I be like that? Why do my sketches look this horrible when all of theirs look perfect? A lot of time went into those sketches, and I'm sure they have just horrible pages into their sketchbook as well. So when you have art block, don't force yourself to create something that is not going to make you happy. The point of art is, unless of course someone is paying you, is to just have fun. And if art isn't fun, then I don't know, like what is the point of art if it's not a way to express yourself and be creative and have fun with it and get a little messy sometime. So if you're having this fear of the blank page, just sit yourself down and scribble. Like, it doesn't have to turn out perfectly, and I can actually say that I'm very impressed with how these drawings turned out, not because they're perfect, but because they aren't horribly ugly. And so if you're having trouble with art block, just try to draw something. Try to use a reference. Try to just doodle on the page. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be great. It just something to make you feel better. That's all it really needs to be. So anyway, those are my tips for helping you out with art block. I hope they give you some sort of knowledge or at least a little bit of inspiration. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!